a saint, somebody who was given saint status only a couple hundred years ago, but the actions she did were a long time ago, over 1,700 years ago, around 300 of our current era. It turns out that Santa Lucia, the reason we're all here today, what we're celebrating, she's a Swedish Christmas tradition. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it got started. Around the year 300, don't mind my little cheat sheet here, Lucia lived on the island of Sicily, the Italian island, of course. It was prohibited at that time to practice Christianity because the Roman Empire was still practicing its polytheism. It had all these different gods it was still incorporating. You know, Christianity was persecuted. And if you were caught practicing Christianity, you were thrown into prison. And, you know, so a lot of these prisons were underground. They didn't have lights. They were in catacombs. They didn't, you know, they were just people, dark, dismal, damp places. A sharp contrast from being above the world where you have light and you lived in the darkness. And so the prisoners were kept there with no light, no food or drink.
What is this?
It's kind of like a little jellyfish, jelly octopus spider thing. I think you hit it right on the first. Yeah, I think it's a spider. It's cool though. And so what Lucia would do, she was a really kind-hearted person. So these people, these prisoners are down in these catacombs. She decides to bring them food and water and sweet treats in these dark catacombs. And so in order to be seen in the darkness, she would put on a white gown and a wreath of candles on her head. Eventually, Lucia was caught, and she was, the story goes that she was tried to be burned as a witch, but the fires wouldn't catch her. So yeah, it was interesting. There's all sorts of mythology. I was checking it out earlier today. I'm sorry? Yeah. So, but later, she was declared a saint in the Catholic faith. In Sweden, Lucia is called the Queen of Lights. It's celebrated today, December 13th, which is, I guess, the shortest day of the year. And Lucia doesn't only bring back the light into people's lives, she also comes to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. All over Sweden, girls dress up as Lucia, and early in the morning they wake up their families and friends by singing the traditional Lucia song and bringing gingerbread cookies. Lucia usually brings white-clad Lucia helpers, and every school, town, or office elects their own Lucia, so it's an election process. You not get nominated. So I hope y'all remember that Lucia stands for light, like lus, the Greek, the Latin prefix, right? And on this day, we honor all the light and joy that our families and our friends bring into our lives. So think of our families and friends. Think about the joy and the light that we all have for each other. I guess that's why we're all here, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be right back.